MIZUNO JPX923 irons. I'm going to be testing the forged and the tour version of these irons. These are just 2 of 5 in the JPX family. If you want to check out the other 3, I've done a review of those in a card up here. Also at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some amazing numbers with the 4 irons of these 2 clubs, like they're butter knife fitting, and I was totally shocked at the performance of these 2 irons. So let's kick this off with the sounds and the feels. It's a Mizuno. I'm expecting goodness from these. The looks of these clubs are premium, as you would expect. The Tour has this more kind of satin finish, and then the Forge has a blend more of chrome and satin. Soles, very similar thickness, slightly thinner in the pores you would expect. They follow a similar model or pattern in the back of the club, so you do see that it's like a bit more padded in the toe. You're getting the feeling that this one's going to help you a fraction more, where this one is that little bit closer to the MP range. You know, in a golf bag, these sets and irons are the kind of clubs people will walk along if they're playing with you, waiting on a par 3. They'll just pick them out and go, cool, they're nice. You know, Mizuno have always never failed to make something that's super desirable. Which one I would prefer, just off the rack of those 2? I do love the finish of this, and I think if you're after classic shapes but you want some help, this is so pretty. And looking at the faces, you don't particularly get a feeling that one has a bigger hitting area when you just simply look at the face. They look very similar. Like when I hold them up together, you can see there, like there's literally next to nothing. It's millimeters in difference. Now, when it comes to down by the ball, the Tour definitely is, I mean, it looks like an MP. Like they're saying, it looks like Mizuno is saying, is this the, you know, most Tour JPX looking they've ever made? And it's there. I mean, it's beautiful. It looks great in here, where it joins the neck, lovely rounding at the top. It sits beautiful. Now, that is not to say that the Forge doesn't look beautiful. It just is slightly thicker on the top line. But it's not thick. I mean, that's the wrong word to use. You're comparing it up to something that's super slender. They both look very good. But again, if it is that classic look you're after, the Tour is spot on. Now the sound, oh yeah, that is lovely. It's one of those clubs that you just want to keep hitting. It sounds absolutely perfect. It's got that kind of, it's just got that Mizuno sound. It's semi-firmer than MP. I think MP would feel damper than in softer. But that just feels so, like there's no surprises in the sound. And I don't want there to be surprises, because we all know that the sound of Mizuno is something that they worked on and kind of got right in this bracket of irons for years. So if we compare that up to the Forged, oh, there's not much in it. The Tour just takes it for me on the sound. If I would spot the difference in the sound outside, wind, rain, things going on, I think in here the acoustics are so dialed in that I think you can work too much into it. And there'll be plenty of people who would hit these 2 clubs and go, I don't think I can hear a difference between those 2. They're close. If I hit a lot of clubs, the Forged, oh, possibly a little more. So centre hits sound solid, feels solid. You're going to feel like there is some help there. There's a bit of punch. Like you do feel like this one's going to just offer a fraction more. We'll talk about why that is as we go on. Like I catch that out the bottom as I dart a few across the face just to feel how it feels. Like from different parts of the face, and the further away you move from that sweet spot, what happens is everything just feels bad, like in line with each other. I don't ever really feel something feels better than another when you hit it on a miss it. Obviously with that sound in the Tour here, I know this one is then going to feel like beautiful. Oh, it's a better sound. The Tour for me is, if you are what often you're after in a JPX or a Mizuno iron, like this is ticking so many boxes. And as I dot around, even with the Tour and the Forge, like trying to use different parts of the face, in here the Tour works like you feel it. When you start moving out here, if you're someone who is moving those strikes out to these spots, no club's really going to help or feel different. You're just going to feel the vibrations, the horribleness. You're going to see the ball flight and just think you've mucked up. So when we take a look at the performance of the 7 irons of these 2 clubs, bear in mind the Tour is lofted at 34 degrees standard loft and the Forged is down at 30, so the Forged is stronger
And what we see is the Forge just pushing on in distance. So 177 to 181 with the Forge, which you would expect. If anything, I'd expect a little bit more with 4 degrees of difference in those lofts. So what happens is we see the ball speed jump, the launch angle come down, but then we see the peak heights very, very similar. And then we also see the spin a little bit lower in the Forged because, again, it's not the same club loft to loft. So like I've said in many other reviews, if the lofts were matched on these two clubs, I think you would just see equivalent numbers come out. The only thing you might see, which you got to bear in mind, is the Forged, with its potential to send the ball up a little bit more, might end up going too high and then result in shorter distances. So being engineered for custom, which is what Mizuno are saying, being just 2 heads of 5 in a family, you totally could combo these irons. So when it comes to who are these irons for, it could be so many different players. Yes, the Forge and the Tour are definitely aimed down at your Tour player, your elite amateur, your better player, but that wouldn't stop any player hitting a wedge or a 9-iron or 8-iron and then blending up to whichever ones you want in the set. So for me, I'd like you to test them, find out which ones you like. I think anyone could hit the 9-iron in it. I don't think anyone could hit the 4-iron, but saying that, should we see how I did with it?
Cool, like the Tour now is like butter knife stuff. Like that looks sharp. Like the Forge ain't much better, but it's a little better.
So the 4-iron test was really interesting. I don't hit a 4-iron, and to be fair, I wouldn't advise many of you to hit a 4-iron, but a 4-iron in this club possibly is a club that would be more used, as better players sometimes keep those clubs in. To be fair, even more and more of them are taking them out now. But let's say you want this kind of punishment. What was amazing with the 4-iron and totally shocked me was that the Tour didn't really drop back any more than the Forge. The Forge pushed on as you'd expect, same as we saw with the 7-iron, longer distance, more power. They're not the same loft. But the drop-offs on the miss hits, and I hit quite a lot of shots, was basically exactly the same. Obviously, I would do more to really confirm this. And I think most of us would think that the bladier one's just going to see a drop off, you know, it's such a difference we're going to see, certainly in a 4-iron, and I just didn't. And believe me, it wasn't that I hit them all out the middle. And the more I looked at it, the more I just thought more people could game this club, like more than we give ourselves credit for. It comes down to how you strike, and over a bigger period of time you might see a difference. But if strike is your issue, I've got a video here that's helping thousands of people improve their strike. It's some of my best striking drills. Check these out, and then you can hit any 4-iron.